Top 1 letter, he's my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku absorbed a black hole. And you might be wondering, Chaz, man, how are you gonna, um, because we all know that the black hole can absorb anything. Well, this version of Zuko is more to him than meets the eye. But, yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into this what if. And yes, I am adding Jimmy to this what if, so yes. And make sure my thing, yeah. So, yeah, and if you're hearing any machines in the background, it's just the ice maker, so don't worry. And yeah. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the what if, shall we? Okay. Zugu and Zumi been born. the at So then at age of 3 years old, because in this alternate timeline, Inko was a scientist, or should I say, yeah, black hole scientist, basically. And she learns about black hole things. So, and no, I'm not making any jokes. It's literal part of the storyline. So she did ask her boss if it's okay to bring her children in to see it. Sure. As her boss says, sure. So her boss and says, yeah, plus their class, or I believe their class is up first. So they basically go in, and Zumi ends up accidentally. No, actually, not Zumi. Bakugo accidentally was leaning on safety rails too hard, and Zuko was not on top, but more like he was trying to lift himself up. But then the safety bars fell off, or like the screws came undone, and Zuko fell in, and it to a black hole that was created, as it basically Zuko was turned. He got turned into basically, as everybody thought he was dead. So a time skip. But they didn't realize that Zuko was lying. Yeah. So he basically, his power, his ability, saved his life, actually. Without it, he would have actually died from it. So he absorbed the black hole into himself. Plus, it was completed one version, not the non-unstable. As Zuko's body, let's say he got transported to a alternate timeline version where he gets up, he looks around and he sees a bunch of dead bodies around. As he's scared out of his mind. as he's about to touch his forehead, or he did, but then he looked at his arm. His arm, I drew this picture out so to get a better idea of it. So when he touched with his arm or hand, first of all, I was trying to go for a more of a Meliodas look, but the black colors on, or like purple, wasn't working with me, so I chose to choose darkest red I could find. So, yeah, Zuko looks at his hand. What happened to my body? As his shirt got ripped off. The only thing that was kept on his body was his underwear. Yeah, because pants were torn because of a black hole just ripped them off. And his shirt. So, when he got up, you know how, like, Metamorphose, I think that's how you pronounce his name? You know how, like, he wears the underwear? It's like that concept. As he gets up, he looks around and sees thousands and thousands of dead bodies, like skeleton remains. As he steps over skeletons, as he's running around, he looks around. Anyone else or anyone alive? But then he turns. Right at that moment, here. Doomsday Zuko. Here. Appeared out of nowhere. As he was about to punch or / kill Zuko. As Zuko, who used his power, or as he was afraid, but then gravity holds him back. As Zuko, and what on Doomsday's his pant leg, because it had a word Zuko Midoriya on it. Wait. Zuko, is that you? Let me help you. As Doomsday Zuko's roaring. Zuko says, and I'm coming in. As he grabs Zuko's, or the Doomsday Zuko's head, and absorbed all the negativity out of him, bringing Zuko back to life. As Zuko looks at his hand, or Doomsday looks at his hands, he looks up, and he talks what happened? As he's trying to remember, as he looks down, but Zuko did cover his eyes. You do not want to know what has happened. Or I do want to know what happened to this world. My memories are fuzzy, but as Doomsday Zuko says, my memories are fuzzy. But I remember when I was 4 years old, as he says, when I was 4 years old, my mother took me to see the Quirk Doctor. I was so excited to, but then next thing I remember, it feels like I'm looking in the mirror. Definitely not looking in the mirror. I'm real. I came from my world, home, or I recently fell into a black hole. As Doomsday Zuko's eyes widen. Wait. So, and he looks around. Oh boy. Did you cause all this? As Zuko black hole, or Zuko says to Doomsday. As he looks around, as he looks at his hand, his hand starts to shake as he realizes what he has done. As he starts crying, because he now realizes that he was the one that killed everybody. I don't know a name. As you may see into your memories, sure. As as Zuko looks into Doomsday Zuko's memories and saw what happened, what truly happened, as he was like, oh boy, what? The Quirk Doctor. Sit down, please. Okay. As they both came into the destroyed Midoriya house that was destroyed. Not fully, but as he sat down, he explains what happened. As Doomsday Zuko's eyes widen. Let me remind you, all of the negativity from Doomsday's body was stripped, taken away by the black hole. So he doesn't remember what truly happened. So when Zuko told him that, as he says, so the Quirk Doctor, this is what he says. So the Quirk Doctor shot your mother and in front of you, and he took you in and experimented on you for 11 years after that. As his face looks like All Might when he heard that Zuko, or that the Quirk Doctor, as he says, I'm so ready to unalive him. Well, here comes the bad news for you. You already did that. He's dead. As Doomsday Zuko actually had Inko's skull nearby, in his collection. So when he looks over, and he could tell that Zuko was telling him a truth, but he still can't believe when he looks at the skull. As as he gives it to, as he says, as he told Zuko, if you're a pro hero, just lock me away forever. As that's what that's what the so I'm just an age of 3 years old kid. And I'm not a pro hero, no. And him, as Jimsy Zuko pets his younger self. You want me to train you on how to use your powers? Sure. And he also trained, or both of them train each other to, like, do all that stuff. So, let me remind you. Black Hole Zuko of this What If storyline is at 3 years old. Before. And Doomsday Zuko is from a different timeline where we are at right now. So now we go transfer back to the Black Hole Zuko's universe. They had burial and name. Yeah. So then as Ochako loved him, but when she saw him fall into the black hole, she could not stop him, as she's blaming herself for the death of her own friend. And Bakugo got thrown in jail for murder because he technically, because of safety bars were not meant to be like pulled on by a kid. So, but yeah. So then and so Inko was sad, but she has to be brave to like Zumi. So Zumi and Zuko, Zumi is now at age of 4. And Zuko is now at age of 4 too. But So the machine. So Doomsday Zuko and the Black Hole Zuko did a little like scan, and Zuko had actually 4 quirks inside of his body. But that was before, when he was just age of 3 years old. Because one of the dead bodies, or the skeletons, remains was All Might. And somehow one of the hairs fell into his mouth, reviving One for All to... Yeah. So, don't ask me how it works. It works differently in the other alternate timeline. So it brought the One for All back to life. So now Zuko has, because of powers thing, he fell into a black hole, and the black hole powers infused into his body. So now he only has one quirk that can... And he's like, man. As he tries, he's punching him normally, but something like an electric shock through, like electric charge, punched the Doomsday during it. As Doomsday's like, man, you punched more time than last time. Huh. And it was kind of gross, as Zuko says, when I saw All Might's dead body. Huh. All Might? As Doomsday Zuko says, yeah, right over here. Oh, crap. Wait. His hair fell into your mouth, right? Yeah. Now you have One for All, actually. As, let's train harder. So then they trained super hard. So a time skip in that universe. Because Zuko had... Yeah. So both Zukus actually respect each other's. And told them... Or one says, okay, now... Are those... And so Zuko was pretty tough cookie. Because one of the quirks that he had before the fusion with the black hole thing was infinite zero. So then he can create a big bang black hole power. That's what he has. And yeah. So he made a promise. How about we both be partners in crime on my world? Yeah, I agree. And so Zuko says, but first, I need to turn you back to a human because they would probably be scared of you or be angry at you because of your appearance. Sure. So then he does that as the quirk, as Doomsday Zuko became more human. Like a adult man. Same size as, like, basically All Might, but yeah. So then when Zuko flies up to try, as he points his arms down as the power flowed right through him, and like it rebuilt it. It reversed the like a timeline of that specific one, that universe, where everyone, to the point where everyone was back to live. And none of them had their heads get ripped off and none of that. It was like nothing even happened. As Bakugo, who was like, oh, what just happened? Or, actually, they're like, hey, Zuko, okay? Yeah. The, as a guy lies down, everyone, meet my alternate. As Doomsday Zuko says, he's the one that saved all of you from the... And he did make a... Or so, Black Hole Zuko did make a copy of the encoded skull to remind himself of if he hurts his little sister, or if the Quirk Doctor hurts his little sister or their mother, yeah, he'll be like basically getting tortured for all eternity. Yeah. So it's time for my yeah. So Zuko did, and so the doctors actually, he does meet All Might and all that stuff. And Bakugo was like, wait, my younger self in your universe was like pushed the bars, safety bars out of their hinges, and is that why you have black hole powers? Yeah. That's right. Wow. And I showed up here, and truth be told, all of you were dead and when I arrived, and who met me before was him, as he points to Doomsday Zuko in his monster form. But there's a reason why, as Zuko sits down, Doomsday Zuko says, or he does sit down and lowers his head with tears coming down. I'll tell him a full story of what happened. So then Zuko does, as everybody, like the pro heroes, the students, the citizens, even his own mother was like, wait, so you're saying my son, or your alternate version, killed all of us? Or killed the rest of them? Yes, and but before that happened, the Quirk Doctor, as I can't believe I looked away from my device thing. As he says, just picture, so Inho, can you sit down in that specific chair? Sure. Imagine a little kid version, 4-year-old, sitting right next to you. Okay? and pretend I'm a quirk doctor. Sorry, ma'am, her son's quirkless. Do. He's perfect. Now, as Zuko pulls out a gun, or makes fingers look like he pulls out a real gun, but in reality he has nothing. As he shoots, or he pretends to shoot Inko right in the head. And, yep, that's what I remember. As Doomsday Zuko says, as everyone can't believe it. And that the quirk doctor actually did that. What did he mean by perfect? It was what he said in his head. And yeah, and then the result were, let's just say, excruciating. As Zuko looks at, yeah, and Doomsday Zuko can transform back and forth from human to a monster. So when he showed his monster side again, and as everybody's like, man, as Bakugo's like, wait, so the quirk doctor, you're saying, whoever you are, I'm Zuko. I know it's confusing that we both are named Zuko. Call me Zuko number 2, and he's number 1 in this universe. Okay, so Zuko number 2, the so yeah, and it's time him. So when I came, or so then after all that stuff, yeah. As Doomsday Zuko's, he did apologize to Momo and everybody that was in the Japan. And so I'll make things up to you when, hey? So this is called redemption arc, basically, where Zuko is, or Doomsday Zuko ends up basically basically forgave, and, or I can say a proper noun, forgave, because of what so they're like, no need to apologize to us. Because after Zuko number 2 told us all about you, as Ochako, the Doomsday Ochako, or no, I meant Doomsday Zuko's is Ochako tells him that after she met him, she actually is in love with him, actually. As she hugs him and like gnaws on his chest. Yeah. And yeah, Bakugo was like, yeah. So yeah, then all that stuff happens. Guess it's my time to go. Wait, Deku. As Doomsday still uses the... I'm saying Deku like in Deku because that's his like nickname. So then he does train with them, but one of his let's say one of the training when he tried to use his powers, he stuck to his hand through. And let's say it was during the USJ arc. As everybody's like worried, there's another monster. No, this one, or as a hand clamps down, like it basically, or it swiped like the Nomu away and crushed it with. Why is it attacking? Its own comrades. As it can't. Because the. Yeah. You know how, like, Stargate ain't, like, they use the machines or their own body parts to go through? Well, Zuko opened a portal. He went in and, like, but his hand was bigger than Mountain Lady's entire body, like her transformation. As he basically swats them away. All the villains were like, whoosh! Yeah. So then All Might shows up and he does like the same punch where is that stupid punch? The one that this plus Ultra, boom, to Zuko's hand, as Zuko could feel it, as he's like, how? As he pulls it out, as there's this dent on his hand, as Doomsday's like, I try to use it to like, think, to see if I can reach. But then something smacked my hand away. Okay, yeah. As it's nothing, no big deal. As it was a giant punch, like a, as All Might, he looks at it and sees it's his own punch. As everybody's like confused and so what was that? As everyone doesn't even notice, or no, actually they do notice, but they're like, what was that? A giant hand just came out of nowhere and starts attacking the villains. Well, it's none of theirs, none of ours. But something tells me that, yeah. So then, but Ochako, Ochako ends up, when she was near one of the villains, she was about to make him float, and she accidentally touched one of the fingers, and she recognizes who it was, and she starts crying as she can't believe that he's still alive, as everybody else was confused. Like, everybody else was like, what do you mean, Ochako? He's still alive. Who? Zuko Midoriya. How can you tell? When I touched his finger, or when he was swiping across against the villains, I ended up touching one of his fingers, and then I found out about it. Knows what... As she could sense... But she still has high hopes that it is Zuko, not some random version of him. So then, a time skip to All Might versus All for One in the normal world. But in Doomsday Zuko's world, Zuko went from age of 4 to 15. The black hole version. Because, yeah. So then he learns how to teleport through his own, full bodies. So he does get one for all inside. Because Doomsday Zuko's is All Might, when he told him that one of his hairs went into his mouth. It had one for all in it. As All Might's as he did train Zuko during all that time. So now he can use black hole power. He can also use the one for all. So, yeah. So he's pretty powerful. So it was time for him to go. As Inko, the Doomsday Zuko, runs up and hugs him and tells him that he's feel free to be here at any time. Thanks. Yeah, as Doomsday Zuko says, yeah. And give All for One and the Court Doctor a nice, basically punches, 1 or 2 punches from me, or for me, hey? Yeah. So then when he left, it was now because of All Might was down because he lost all of his strength. And he did pass One for All to Zumi to I know it's confusing because there's two All Mights in two different worlds that gave two separate One for Alls to two separate people. So, All for One says to whom All Might that it's time for you to die. As he shoots a beam of light, as All Might was just standing there. He can't move his body because his body hurts so bad. So he lowers his eyes, he closed his eyes. He just accepted his fate. But then, out of luck would have it, another hand comes up, stops the attack, right in front of All Might. And a voice comes out. No need of fear, I am here. And Zuko, as a portal opens up fully, as he says, miss me? As they can't believe, everyone that was watching, everyone that was watching the live feed can't even believe that is our Zuko. Now, my friend told her, I think he'll be paying for your time. You and the Quirk Doctor. For your sins. As he turns his head and tells All Might, leave this guy to me, All Might. As it basically launches himself. And yeah, the one that you see on your screen, this part, was when as Zuko runs up and punches All for One with enough force, as he says, as he dodges the tendrils. As he says, and alright. One thing that I did learn during when I was in an alternate universe, that family and friends are more important than anything in the world. Home. As he did tell them, he did tell All for One out loud that even everyone is a hero in their own souls. No one should ever be used for anything. Like the Quirk Doctor, or your partner, should I say, he used my alternate version of myself as a Nomu. And look what as he wanted, or so the alternate version of me, as he says really loudly, he told me to smack you around. Give you a good 1-2 punch. I will deliver it. As he comes in, he slides underneath and he punches All For One. And he says, "Blah, get over here." As Zuko says his attack name of Black Vortex, basically. And so All For One came right back. As All Might can see or can feel the aura of One For All. As Zuko says, "Ultimate Black Hole Cannon Punch!" As Zuko basically punched, his punch made every villain around him, including All For One, out of existence. Or actually sent flying up into the air. And as Zuko flies up, he used his own gravity powers. As Bakugo was like surprised about it. How can he fly? Boom! And he says, "Now?" As Zuko used his raining fist as he punches All For One so hard. Every punch that he did to All For One was more brutal than the last. It was like the raining of, like, basically fists. As All For One, is done for. Completely dead. Dead and gone. As Zuko, as All For One's had a dead corpse. Basically, there was nothing left of him. The quirks that he was in, or like quirks that he had stored in his body, were all vanished, except for Search Quirk. Because Zuko already took it out. And he says, as he steps on All For One's skull, breaking it, as he says, serves him right for now. And he did teleport to the wild cat had Yellow and gave her back her quirk. And so then he says before her, "There's one person that I need to visit." As he looks at All Might and the pro heroes before, and that would be the Quirk Doctor, aka All For One's partner. Basically, Zuko, who was pretty much So when he teleported to the where the Court Doctor's actual base was, the villain's base, like his lab, Zuko just like basically destroyed all the Nomus, as he says, come out wherever you are. As the Court Doctor was scared. Because he has never met Zuko before in this alternate timeline. So when he says, "Oh, I have met you before in an alternate timeline, but you end up doing something that I'm really mad at." As the Court Doctor says, what did I do to deserve this? In that alternate universe, as he pulls out a skull and sets it on a desk. You shot Inko. You took me in and used me as one of those creatures. But now it's time for you to pay. As Zuko cracks his knuckles. Like, yeah. And he released a bombardment of, so the Court Doctor now dies, is now dead. Zuko goes over and grabs the skull. That was just floating because he grabbed a table and just hit the Court Doctor with enough force, pierced right through his head instead. And made his entire body exploded. So then when he says, "Now, I've seen a lot of death today," so as he was walking right past he was about to walk past the innocent kids that were abducted by the Court Doctor. "I won't harm you," I just wanted to go and kill the Court Doctor so that to make him pay for what he's gonna do to rest of you. As he opens the doors, as he's letting the kids out. And so the kids went to a safer daycare. "Now where are you going?" As the detective says, "I have some questions for you. Let's talk at the shoreline. I need some peace from the action." As Zuko looks at the detective with cold, dead eyes. "Are you coming?" As the detective's like, "Sure. That's where you're going? Sure, let's talk." "So, why did you kill the Court Doctor and All for One?" "Because no child should ever go through what I experienced when I was in an alternate universe." "What do you mean?" "Do you want to prove to, as he pulls out the skull. Wait, that's a skull. Yeah, of a innocent person that the pro hero should have sensed." her name is Inko. And I don't feel like fighting all of you. It's too brutal. As Zuku's eyes looks away from... And that's the truth, actually. What I saw in that world can never be unseen from... As the detective and everyone wants to know, including the newscast wants to know what he means. And so, I'll have to say this a third time, explaining this to... Wait, you already explained it to us? We don't remember that. It was an alternate timeline version. As everybody's wondering, okay, please tell us. As Ochako's was there. She has like the big old puppy eyes with... I'm trying to find... With her tears. Okay, let's start from the beginning of how that universe was. I'm using myself. So, a 4-year-old kid named Zuko Midoriya, that's me, at age of 4. As he explains a whole story to them, as more and more, when they heard, as everybody was sweating, everybody says, wait, so the Quark Doctor turns you into a Nomu destroyer type, the hybrid? I never heard of. It's called the Doomsday Zuku, or no, Doomsday Nomu, basically, where it's a project that the Quark Doctor was working on, and he needed a perfect test subject to put every single quirk inside of him. As everybody's like, wait, so... And then he went on a rampage, or I went on a rampage and killed the Quark Doctor, and all for one. And he killed, so then all for one, so All Might did show up before, and he did, or when he said he did kill, so the monster killed everybody that was in Japan. Yeah. As he had tears coming down his face. But after I went to there, I fixed everything. I put everything back to a way it should have been. And as he starts, as he lowers his eyes, I felt so bad about those people. When I was walking down, I saw, as he starts crying, you know how like Pony like, as she basically, yeah, her face. Yeah, Sigurd basically told her, or told them that about his his rampage killed all of them. And it was brutal that even he wanted to, like, cut his own eyes out because of that. And everybody, when they heard that, how brutal was it? It was so brutal. As he looks over and he drew out in the sand because he can use black hole. So, or actually, he made replicas of every dead body. This is what I see. Wait, so you're saying this is what you saw? As everybody looks and sees their own dead bodies. Piles after piles of. As they're horrified. As, yeah. You did this? Or your alternate version did this? Azumi says. Yeah. And so then, yeah. As he was afraid that so his mother did came and, like, basically tackled him and told him that how about me? I don't see my dead body. As Zuko looks away, as he pulls out a skull. And when everybody saw what the skull looks like, Inko just like basically she went from being like super worried to like, what happened? Why is there a bullet through? As this story, as she remembers the story of the Quark Doctor shot her in the head. That is my skull. As she starts tearing up, as she hugs her son, as she says, and as she felt so bad about her son had to experience it. So, yeah. That's why I needed some relaxed time. As the detective's like, he looks at him. Yeah, that's all proof that we need to throw all for one, or put, yeah. Or so, actually, scrap the part about so, let's say the Quark Doctor still lives, and he's immortal, and Zuko actually grabbed him, or so Zuko did pull him through the portal and ends up being, getting turned into, as he says, here he is. if you want him. As the detective says the actual name, but I still call him the Quirk Doctor. You are under arrest for turning kids into monsters and such and such. And so, Zuko, I know it is a crime to kill the... But you did the... Like, you basically... You've seen it before, so... You're let off the hook, so, yeah. So then Zuko basically hangs out with his mother, his sister, and his father, because, yeah. His father was happy that he was not trialed for anything that... And he does hang out with Ochako and Bakugo, Class 1A. And he actually joins Class 1A. And... yeah. So, yeah. Basically all the students that know him, or all the students from Class A all the way down to Class Z, he were like, when they see him, they're like, hey, Zuko, do you want to hang out? And they're all friendly to him. Sure. And then yeah. So, even Endeavor and Todoroki can't even... As when they heard that Zuko is more... has experience with seeing so much... yeah. So then, yeah, Zumi actually does get married to Todoroki because Zuko gets married to Ochako in this main story and the Doomsday Zukus. Because, yeah. And they're like, man, we all felt bad for you, Zuko, because of how much pain you had to go through. Yeah, yeah. At least I never heard in my entire life, I never want to see that ever again. Yeah. So, plus all the villains were all wiped out because of Zuko. So, yeah. And this is yeah. So, Ochako does get, like, she actually had 2 kids. One of them is basically looks like Meliodas, but with green hair. And the other is a female version of... of her, but with darkest brownish hair, like super dark hair. So yeah, so it's kind of happy at the end of it, because redemption arc, the first was tragic, then the redemption arc, and then the basically payback arc, and then love arc after that. So 4 arcs in one video. That's amazing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and please leave a like, share, subscribe, and when this is edited, about adding the music to the part where the Zirku's hand comes out of nowhere and blocks the attack, and will be, yeah. So now, peace out, Cub Scouts, and have a good night or day. Depends on the time zones. Peace.